Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today is Motivation Monday. So if you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. All right, I've been getting lots and lots of emails from medical coding, medical billing and coding students. And they're saying, Blue, I just can't get motivated. I feel defeated, I feel very confused. There's not a lot of teaching and I just feel like I'm learning this all on my own. Can you please help? And what can I do to stay motivated? All right, so let us begin. So this message is not just for the students, but if you are a brand new medical coder as well, I hope that you will take some of what I say today and I hope some of it will motivate you into whatever situation you're in, into a better place. So that you can feel like you're growing, you can feel like you're learning, and you can feel like you're accomplishing something. Because at the end of the day, when we are in a task, and whether it is learning medical billing and coding, or it is our first time on the job and we're trying to be as quick as we possibly can, it helps when we feel like we're accomplishing something and we feel motivated and we feel like we're doing the right thing. All right, so with that in mind, let us begin. I will start off by saying this. To learn medical billing and coding, to be a medical biller and coder is a very individual task, meaning that it is something that we primarily learn on our own. The problem comes into play when we start incorporating just random people. And by that I mean like we start asking questions to just random coders not really knowing what their background is, or even with students not knowing how much they're grasping the material. It's all about being careful when you're laying this foundation, because if you start talking to somebody that's not as sure either, right, of themselves, and then you're already not feeling sure, and you talk to somebody else that's not feeling sure, it's going to make things even worse. So when you are in this delicate phase of developing as a medical biller and coder, you want to make sure that you are learning how to do research, learning where to find the answers, because a lot of times that's what you're going to be doing. Even if you are in a school program and you have an instructor, the instructor either may not always have time to teach you like one-on-one, or maybe the instructor is just there just basically proctoring from a book, and they're not really teaching you those critical thinking skills. That comes into play really kind of on your own, or if you're really lucky and you have a hands-on type teacher that is really trying to teach you those critical thinking, I was gonna say creative, those critical thinking skills to kind of help you along the way. Okay, so that being said, I want you guys to think about when you're starting to look for information, don't go to Facebook medical coding groups. I'm always gonna say that, because the thing is, there's so many of them, and I'm sure that there are really good ones out there, but for the most part, a lot of them are going to be very one-way sided type deal. And I've heard from many people who have given up medical billing and coding because of what they heard in a Facebook medical coding group. This is why I tell you guys to stay out of there. Stay away from anything that is negative. And in the time that you're developing as a medical coder, you don't need that. You need to be able to focus on the things that you need to learn, not the fact that Sue, Jane, and Sally can't understand it either, all right? And even if you're trying to help each other, if the other person is like you and wanting to learn, there's going to be that back and forth where, okay, I found this and this, and I found this on this website. That's when that's okay, because you're starting to learn from each other. But if you have somebody who's feeling defeated and kind of stays in that mentality of, I feel defeated, I don't know if I can do this, this is too hard, and I'm just so tired of this, and I feel like I was cheated. You don't need that, guys. You have to take a stand and really kind of focus on yourself. Get the blinders on. Now, staying motivated means having that end goal in sight. You want to get your credential, right? You want to get your certification. So at this point, when you are in school, that is your goal. Not about getting a job. That's going to come later. Trust me, you got plenty of time to focus on that. But the thing about being motivated is having one attainable goal at a time. When you're in school, your attainable goal is to get that certification. That's the attainable goal. Once you get your certification, then you can worry about getting a job. And a lot of people want to put the cart before the horse and, oh, about the jobs and things like that. You're in school. That's your job. Stay in school. Get focused on what you need to do. Then you can worry about that, because there's plenty of time for it. Believe me. The other thing is this. You have to stay committed to the task. If you are being lackadaisical about your study schedule, and this is the thing that I always recommend to you guys, in order for you to keep meeting those goals and progressing, you're going to have to stay on a schedule when it comes to your studies. Because if you don't, it's really easy to get derailed. Well, you know, I had this with my kid and my old man or my old lady. You know, no. It's nobody else's fault. It's got to be you. You have to take responsibility for this, because you were already a parent, or you were already a spouse, you were already a boyfriend or a girlfriend when you signed up for this medical billing and coding program. Those things never change, right? But this is something new. This is something that's going to benefit you. It's something that's going to benefit your family. It's something that's going to benefit your life. People get into medical billing and coding, and when they truly understand the gravity of what they're getting into, the light bulb turns on. Because you can have a whole career out of this. Because think about it. When you're investing all of this time, on down the road, when you get your job and you start working and you're in this career field for 20, 30, 40 years, this is what you're going to be doing. So putting all of your energy now into getting that good foundation is going to serve you better in the future. But getting where you're in that positive frame of mind, even when you don't understand something, you're not going to understand something. And it's okay to not understand something. And you can give yourself permission to not understand. Okay, if you can't get it, that's okay. A lot of people will write me and tell me, Blue, I don't understand the coding guidelines. You're not supposed to. Why? Well, because number one, you're not out in the field yet. So you don't have a chance to put this into real world action, right? You're going to be reading it and you're going to be working on stuff in the workbook. But at the end of the day, it's when you really get out into the real world and you're starting to code, then it's going to start to make sense. It's going to start to come together after a while. Your job right now is to learn them, to read them, and to get them committed to your memory. Not to memorize like word for word, but for the general sense, I know I saw this somewhere. I know I saw this about injuries. I know I saw this about neoplasm coding. I know I saw this about the Z codes, the history of codes. That's where you get your general understanding from. That's your whole goal right now. When you're in school, is to get like that. Not to say, oh, I really and truly understand, okay? Working on those exercises. And a lot of people will ask me, well, I really want to do OPTUM coding. Here's the thing. This is, again, the cart before the horse. If you're not getting the diagnosis coding down first, before you get into the OPTUM coding, the OPTUM coding is going to be 10 times harder for you. The details have to be there when you start doing the diagnosis coding. Because when you're doing the diagnosis coding, you have to understand, is there going to be a Z code with this? Is there going to be an additional code for this? How am I going to sequence this? With the injury coding, how do I know to place how many placeholders, right? The X's. How many of those do I place? You have to learn all of those things before you get into the op notes. Because a lot of people just want to jump to the op notes. And then when I see their diagnosis coding, the diagnosis coding is like, okay, well, what happened here? They're not recognizing the diagnosis codes that are within the op note because they're so busy looking for the procedure code and not the diagnoses. So that's where, like I'm telling you guys, you have to start laying that foundation, and that good foundation, and in the order, so that way it doesn't become confusing and it doesn't become overwhelming, because it's very easy to become overwhelmed with this. But when you stop and you literally tell yourself, it's okay that I don't understand. What am I going to do now to remedy this? Well, if I pick up the phone and I call my friend's just going to start complaining that she doesn't get it either. So what else can I do? Don't call your friend, right? Start to look on the internet, try to find resources, reach out, find a tutor. I'm a tutor myself. I leave my rates in the description box below. And if you can't get a hold of me or you don't want me, that's fine. There's plenty of them on LinkedIn. I was gonna say Instagram, I don't know why. There's plenty of them on LinkedIn, and with LinkedIn, you have your choice, all right? So it's just a matter of finding somebody that you feel comfortable with. And for my recommendation is this: when you are picking a tutor, to pick somebody that really truly knows and loves what they do. Sometimes people will look at people just simply because of their credentials, right? The more credentials, the better, and that kind of thing. A lot of credentials mean one of two things. It either means experience or somebody who doesn't have the experience but just has the credentials. So there's a difference there, and you want to make sure that you ask those questions and you ask before you start signing up with a tutor, or hear from word of mouth. You know, that's also another good way to find a very good tutor for you, all right? So the main thing is, guys, stay focused on what you have in front of you. Don't try to think about all these other things so far ahead. Because like I said, you're gonna have plenty of time to worry about finding a job. You're gonna have plenty of time to worry about your coworkers. Get through school. Get through school and get through this time so that you can take that credential exam. And if you feel like your school is not teaching you and they're not giving you all the attention that you deserve, and perhaps they're not breaking it down, then it is your responsibility to find a way to start to better understand this, whether it is watching videos on YouTube or finding a tutor. There is ways of doing it. Finding another book that will help break it down. I do leave some of the books that I recommend in the description box below. They're Amazon affiliate links. You don't have to click on them, but just, you know, look at those titles and try to find them, try to find those books and see if you can do your own research and start to understand it better. And that's one of the things that you have to do. Again, it's the heavy lifting. And when I say heavy lifting, I mean reading, and I mean putting in the time. And a lot of times people get discouraged because they feel like they don't have time. I did a video where I was talking about study tips for busy people. And there's time for things that you want to do. Because I guarantee you, even if you're saying, I am too busy, Blue, I have too much to do, I've got these kids and I've got this, I got that, but you had time to look on social media, didn't you? Your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, whatever, YouTube. I know you did. So if you did, that time can be spent studying, doing flashcards, or reading a section of the guidelines. I'm just saying, there's plenty of time that you can sneak in. When you're driving, when you're going to work, you can listen to podcasts. I do recommend, only one I recommend is Brian Quee, the amazing Brian Quee. He is the podcaster behind the Not Elsewhere Classified podcast. I do recommend him because he talks up a lot about the industry. So there's lots of really good podcasts that he does. There's lots of really good ones for CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. There's different channels. Not Brian doesn't talk about that, but there's different channels and stuff like that you can research and look up those things for, like CMS, for HIPAA, and the OIG. There's lots of podcasts out there, so please take the time if you're into podcasts and look for those, and also show Brian some love. So, but with that said, you know, there's plenty of things that you can do, but it's all about making that time, and it's all about seeing it through. Because a lot of times when people get signed up, they get so excited and it's like the honeymoon phase in the beginning, and then reality sets in. It's reality. Learning medical coding is not always glamorous. In fact, there's going to be times when you're going to cry. I can't tell you how many times I did cry when I was in school. Yes, I studied, but there was times when it was really frustrating for me. And there was times when, like, I would see my classmates suffering because they just didn't get it. And one of the things that they suffered on was evaluation and management. And one of the ways that I mitigated my own frustration with evaluation and management was by reading the book literally cover to cover, because that was the only way I was going to understand it. And back then, there was not, that I knew of, there was not YouTube and all this other stuff. to be learning this stuff off of, or it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. And even now, it's not even that prevalent. So as far as like the coding stuff, so, that's just something that, you guys need to be thankful for now, that you do have that opportunity. And there's more media out there for this rather than just looking in the books. Because I think a lot of times people get frustrated with that. And is that basically what this is? Yes, it is a lot of reading. And, if you don't think that it is a lot of reading, it is. That's 90% of what we do during the day is read. And if you feel like you get tired, it makes you sleepy, that's what this is. There's no alternative to this. There's no alternative to the fact that you're going to be looking at charts all day and reading. That's what this is. But it is a wonderful field. And it is, if it is what you want, then you got to go after it with both hands. You can't just be, lukewarm into it. And you can't let anybody else's influence change your mind. If you've made up your mind and you said, this is something that I want to do, I want to try this, I want to do this as a career, then go for it. If somebody else tells you, well, no, it's hard to get a job and you'll never get a job, and there's new coders getting jobs every single day. Well, I've been applying and I haven't gotten a job. There's many reasons why. There's a lot of reasons why. And yeah, there's a lot of that in the beginning. Well, you need experience, you need experience. Every single veteran medical coder went up against that. And when I did the poll about a couple months ago about how you got your first job, a lot of people said the same thing. I applied everywhere until I got hired. And that's what you have to do. Is it frustrating? Yes. But there's something to be said about having that go-getter attitude and still staying with it and taking the job in billing, or taking the job in risk adjustment, or taking the job in prior authorizations, just to get your foot in the door so that you can get to that point where you are a medical coder, if that's the case in your area. Every place is different. There's different steps. And some hospitals, I've heard, they will actually start you like coding in the ER, and then they'll move you up to same-day surgeries, and then they'll move you to the outpatient setting, and then they'll move you to the inpatient setting, which I think is great, because that means they're developing well-rounded, high-caliber medical coders. And there's a difference there. And sometimes people who have experience only have experience in just like one clinic, and you never want to be that way. You always want to take challenges with both hands. You want to just grab it and just run. Drive it like you stole it. Basically, you just want to do that because, again, the captain of your life is you. And how you decide to take on a challenge is entirely up to you. And if you're going to get defeated like that, you're always going to get defeated like that. You have to change that mindset, and you have to get it to where you're like, okay, I faced a little bit of adversity. That's all right. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to face this challenge, and I'm going to go for it head on. Because if you always run, you're always going to run. And that's not just for medical coding. That's for any career field. And it's not just medical coders that struggle to find jobs in the beginning either. That's something else to know. It's not just limited to what we do. So to recap, make sure that you're surrounding yourself with positive people. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with experts. Don't just ask anybody willy-nilly. Their journey is not your journey. Your journey is your own. Keep your eye on the immediate prize. When you're in school, it's getting your credential. When you have your credential, it's getting your job. When you have your job, it is mastering your specialty, or mastering, whatever clinic they have you assigned to. If it's for same-day surgeries or something like that, or the ER or something. That's what you have to do. Don't start thinking about all these other things, because that's what's going to steal your dream, because it's going to be too much. And a lot of times people will say, I just get so overwhelmed with anxiety. Don't let that take your dream. Don't let that take your goal away from you. You have the power to control that. You have to execute that power. And by doing that is taking one goal at a time, being disciplined with your time. And if it's just, my friends want to go out or whatever, no, I have to study tonight. No, I have to do this. No, I have to do this. Well, I gotta go to the gym. Okay, well then you can listen to your earbuds and you can record yourself talking, reading medical terminology, or reading the prefixes, suffixes, and root words and like their meaning. Record yourself, and then when you're in the gym, listen to that. Easy as pie, guys. Look and get creative in those ways so that you can get a little bit more time in and a little bit more time in. And know that you're not going to understand everything and that that's okay. That's just my advice. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. But I hope that you will join me tomorrow for a very special episode celebrating our 10,000 subscribers. Can you believe it? I can, because you guys are amazing. So I'm going to wrap this one up. But please like and share and subscribe to this video if it has helped you. If it has helped you, please share it so that it may help somebody else. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.